everybody, and thank you very much for joining us. As always, my name's Andrew Smith. With me today is my co-host, the one to the side, Misty Winston. Um, we do have some awesome guests with us: Magnus, Jesse, David. We'll have Tommy Nation hopefully hopping in here in a little bit, and maybe even Mark Lovers to talk about the wonderful holiday that it is.
Oh, I didn't know Mark was coming too.
Maybe it's
All
super
right.
early over in Europe, so.
Right.
Not entirely sure.
He has a weird sleep schedule, let's be honest.
But I did send in the link. So before we get into it, I do want to run through the numbers with everybody. We have 3,979 days of illegal and arbitrary detention for Julian Assange. We have 943 days since the WikiLeaks founder was trafficked from the Ecuadorian embassy after being sold to the US and the UK for a $4.2 billion loan from the International Monetary Fund to the nation of Ecuador. It's been 403 days since District Judge Vanessa Breitzer's January 6 ruling denying Julian Assange bail after personally ordering his release and ruling no extradition in his case. We have 1,534 days of inhumane pretrial detention for the alleged Vault 7 whistleblower, Joshua Schultz. And at least 1,072 of those days have been spent under special administrative measures. We have 942 days since political persecution of Ola Bini started by the hands of the Ecuadorian government. 153 days since Commander X was illegally taken from Mexico by DEA agents in rendition to the United States. 102 days since Daniel Hill pled guilty to a single Espionage Act charge. And it has been 18 days since he was transferred to the Communications Management Unit in the United States Penitentiary Marion in Southern Illinois. We have 104 days of detention served so far by Craig Murray for the crime of publishing in the United Kingdom. The charges against him, the Crown prosecution specifically cite Julian's trial to show why he's such an impactful journalist. We have 36 days of detention served for Steve Donziger, marking the first corporate prosecution here in the United States. 150 days since whistleblower Reality Winner was moved from house arrest and is expected to be placed on parole later this month. 604 days of freedom for Chelsea Manning, 253 days of freedom for Jeremy Hammond.
Ooh, that's a lot of numbers.
Shorter.
Or at least, at the very least, we need to have more good news numbers than bad news.
More days freed numbers.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be cool because it's really depressing. At least we end with the good news because it's like a little boost of but that's a long list of
way to get there, for sure.
Terrible statistics. You know what I mean? Oh, ridiculous.
So how are you today, Misty? How's everything been going?
I should apologize to everybody. I'm going to in advance. There is a mini sleepover happening at my house. So if at any time you hear screeching in the background or anything like that, there are 3 11-year-old girls running around my house right now. So there's that. Just fair warning.
The 11-year-old girls are code words for the FBI agents that are sitting in the other room with the recorder.
Oh goodness!
We've got a sleepover happening at my house tonight too, but it's just midday. But there's going to be 16-year-olds here.
Oh.
So this is your calm before the storms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You should have saw me after I had to take my daughter and one of them to go pick the other one up, and the car ride home with 3 of them in the back seat was enormously stressful. Not really, but you know what I mean. It's like it's a lot of noise.
My daughter's taking advantage of daddy daycare, and she's like, "Oh, can I have a friend over?" Yeah, no problem. Can I have another friend over? Yeah. Look, Dad, I'm so happy today. I'm so happy. It's good. Can I have just one more friend over? Yeah, whatever.
All of a sudden, it's a party.
Yeah, that's when you just juice them with sugar and wait for them to fall asleep.
It doesn't work quite the same when they're 16, though.
No,
they got me out somewhere else. So they're going to cause trouble at someone else's house.
Yeah, indeed. Oh, so just fair warning. I just wanted to give you guys fair warning because that's probably going to happen, and it is what it is.
So how's everything been going, Jesse? I think it's been probably
it's been too long since you've been on a vigil.
It's been a while. Yeah, I know. Yeah, yes. Work has been bananas. I've had very little time to do much else, and we are now on my son's 3rd time being sick this season.
Oh
which is
no.
great. And a great result of, his immune system just resetting back to nothing. So
Yeah.
it's like as soon as he gets better, we have a few good days, and then he goes to school and he comes back with something else. So far, I'm the one left standing in the house. Everyone else is afflicted, but it seems to be just a standard cold right now. So I'm just kind of waiting. It's, you want to comfort your kid, but they also want to just cough in your face every chance they get. So I'm gonna get it. It's just a matter of when. I'm marked.
But you give it back to them though when they've got
Oh, of course, yeah. We just share it back and forth. Yeah.
Yes, that's how it always works.
The gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah, it's lovely, especially with kids. Kids
Yep.
are very germy.
My mother was working as a doctor when our kids were very young, and we were always queuing up outside her surgery to get medicine, jumping the queue, which was good. She didn't want to be the grandma who had to give needles to the kids, but it was, it's good to have a doctor in the house when you've got toddlers.
Yes. Yeah. All right, guys.
So there is something I wanted to talk to David about because it's good news and it's still scary at the same time. It's something most people in the U.S. don't really know who he is, but there's a YouTuber in Australia called Friendly Jordies. Roughly the equivalent of like Jimmy Dore, I would say, as far as like stature and comedic value. But he was recently, a few months back, his producer was arrested and he had a court hearing. I'm not going to go through the full story of it. I'll drop the video of how he breaks it down for himself. But essentially the New South Wales government and the Australian government in general are starting to move more aggressively against independent journalists right now in their country. And the Friendly Jordies case is a really good example of it. Even though everything got dismissed, it's still the weapons that they're allowed to use, even if at the end of the day a person's released or absolved from crime. So I'm going to drop that link for people to check out. But I was just wondering, David, if you had a chance to stay up to date on what was happening with his case at all.
It's a happy coincidence, or not a coincidence, but we share the same lawyer, Friendly Jordies and I. And
that sounds good for you.
It's good for me. In fact, he's got 400,000 subscribers on YouTube, which is a lot in Australia. That's a lot. And yeah, like Jimmy Dore, or like Russell Brand or something. He has more clout and does more good journalistic work than the
journalists.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And he calls a spade, and it was great because he's been threatened with defamation a few times, and he just says, a bit like Daniel Hale, he just says, "Bring it," which is fantastic. And he raised when he got sued for defamation, libel by this politician. Friendly Jordies raised $1 million pretty much overnight, which is in Australian terms is a big amount because people, which is quite fat. And what was really lucky for me, they didn't think they were going to spend all that money on defending the defamation case. But Friendly Jordies said, "I'm going to give a quarter of that money to David McBride," which is really nice. So
I didn't know that. That's really cool.
Yeah. He's a cool guy. I've got a lot of time for Jordies. And he understands that there's no point. You can make all the serious points that you want, but no one's really going to listen. But he just makes people laugh, and he says all the things people would like to say, but don't. And he puts on little skits and dresses up in various different outfits. And he's the thing about him, he's so brave. He's merciless. He attacks other journalists regularly.
Good.
Good.
Yeah, good.
It's a beautiful day to bully journalists.
I know. When you realize that, these journalists they're
not journalists. Oh,
exactly. They just mouth
they're propaganda. They're
talking points, and they get what is even most obscene about it is that they kind of kid themselves that they're serious, campaigners and activists, but they don't do anything when the big stories come along.
Mhm.
So he mimics them and mercilessly. But he's a great guy, and he's a smart bloke, a young guy, and it's good to see that he's so popular. What happened, and of course the mainstream media have managed to paint it like he had to apologise, but the politician that he most lampooned ended up resigning from politics, and it was public because Geordie had him on the ropes. He sued Geordie's for defamation, but now he's dropped he's resigned from politics. He's dropped his defamation action. Geordie's had to pay some money, but there's no doubt about it who won the contest. Geordie's still going. This politician is retired for mental health reasons, and he's looking for another way of making a living. Now and before that, he was the deputy premier, like the deputy governor, quite a serious person, and now he's gone. So yeah, it's pretty clear who won that. So I've got a lot of time, and all the armchair experts about Geordie's he's too raucous and he's too he's too irreverent. I mean, he got results. He got a lot better results than.
And what does that even mean, you guys?
That's like
What
the
does that
first
mean?
thing they walk out always is like they're mean, they're rude,
Yep.
they're an asshole.
What does that even
I don't
mean?
care.
And
At a time when the world is in a very bad place, we need
Mhm.
some people who are going to shake the cage.
Yes. Please,
and
more of
the
those.
police literally argued that a grown adult making a video criticizing the policies of an Australian politician is equivalent to a person
Sure.
making a video that bullies a child to the point that they commit suicide.
No, yeah, they were. It's a bit of a complicated story, but yeah, they called the anti-terrorist, the SWAT team, out on his producer. And had they put up more of a fight, had it been like America where they might have had guns, these guys could have got killed. The SWAT team would have killed a guy who just makes YouTube videos, and they would have painted it as his, was all his fault. But so we are living in very dark days when a YouTuber who's anti the government could be shot and killed by the government simply because he makes funny videos about the government.
Yeah, and to piggyback off of that, speaking of dark times, the UK expansion of the Communication Act that they're pushing for that makes internet dogpiles, which is a
Mhm.
very, very broad term, a
Yeah.
criminal offense. So literally ratioing someone on Twitter can be a
Mhm.
crime now in the UK, which again, it's just like you said, Andrew, it's equivocating you saying something dumb and a bunch of people getting mad at you with a mob of
Mhm.
people stalking you in the streets.
Yeah.
And that's a dangerous precedent.
It's ridiculous. Oh, and it's
And of course,
terrifying.
that'll never be used to protect anyone like us. We know
No.
exactly what that bill
Yeah.
is directed at.
That's right.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. That's what's so crazy about it, is because it's very apparent that that's the case, and yet here we are.
But
You
you know,
know.
other good news out of UK, and I just want to read this headline because this is so me that I love it, and I just want it like tattooed on my body. So from the Daily Mail, anarchists set fire to an effigy of Boris Johnson as anti-vaxxers and communists join forces to clash with riot police outside of Parliament.
Holy moly, that is a headline.
God, I need a cigarette after that.
That's literally like I'm like
What?
this is my politics in the tweet.
I love that. Yeah, I saw.
That's a
your
real
tweet.
headline.
That's a real headline
Send
because
me the link, please.
yeah, because it was for the 5th of November protest. So Anonymous was out there,
Shit.
and then anti-Boris Johnson leftists were out there, but then also anti-mandate protesters were out there as well. And instead of fighting in between each other, they all just joined up and were chanting "We are united" while fighting riot cops. And I'm like, let's go, let's go.
We live in a cartoon.
At least this is a good
Yeah.
episode.
No, alliances are good. I love it. I think that's the flavour of the day. I was speaking to someone from Extinction Rebellion yesterday, and I was like, and she agreed to say, all of us need to get together. We actually have a lot of common enemies in that we're fighting basically the United States government. We're fighting misinformation. We're fighting whether pollution's your big thing or whether it's human rights or whatever it is. We have a lot in common. The machine alliances. It's a bit like in Afghanistan. We would. It wasn't. There was no such thing as the Taliban, really. There were tribal groups, particular valleys, who didn't want invading forces there, but they didn't have the means to communicate with each other. They didn't have that much in common, but except the common enemy, and that can be a powerful thing. Like the partisans in World War II, they weren't all. They weren't some sort of organised. But they had a common enemy, and they had their own little flavors, and that can be powerful.
Yep, the Greek partisans, the Greek anarchists, like there's tons of examples, and it's such a popular like meme in like in the classical definition of the word in literature and everything, to where we can all probably think of a dozen movies and TV shows that are all about like these people come from different backgrounds, but they put aside their disagreements to fight blah blah blah. There's like the Avengers, like there's 100 examples.
The Dirty Dozen. I think I prefer the Dirty Dozen.
Exactly. Yeah. Like there's so many examples of it. It's such a human thing, but we get so surprised when it happens because it's stupid. Mm-hmm. But I put that link in the private chat, Misty.
Okay. Thank you.
It's so good. And the pictures out of there and the videos out of there are just like mint.
Oh my God. There's pictures.
There's so many pictures. They were blowing up fireworks in the middle of the streets and everything, but not even like throwing them they're just throwing them on the ground and blowing them up the street. That
is a headline, y'all.
The headline is immaculate.
I must admit, because they're fireworks, Dave. The Americans might not know, but it's kind of a black humor holiday celebrating the fact that somebody back in the 1600s, I think it was, just wanted to blow up the whole of Houses of Parliament. It was Osama bin Laden before his time, and he was a Catholic, of course, so they made it as sort of an anti-Catholic holiday. And but now, I have some sympathy for Guy Fawkes.
Right?
Yeah. I think that he wasn't such a it wasn't so bad after all. Putting and there was something kind of brazen about his plot of slowly stocking up gunpowder underneath the Houses of Parliament year after year, getting ready for the big day.
Proto Ted Kaczynski.
So here in the U.S., we had Project Veritas come out a couple hours ago and talk about a new grand jury that's been impaneled, specifically investigating them. Have you guys seen that yet?
Yeah, no. I heard the FBI raided a couple of their reporters.
I did see that, but I haven't looked into it. Like, I
haven't
had a chance to look at it.
I'll screen share it. I got the video. It's only.
I wish that they weren't shady as fuck, dude, because they are shady as fuck. But they do some stuff, and it's like, why you got to be, Okay, hold on, I got to share this, right, Andrew?
Because they're focused more on the culture war than the information. Like everyone, Misty, and it's annoying. It really fucking contaminates everything it touches.
Yes. Okay, are you ready, Andrew? Are we ready for this?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
I'm ready.
By making this statement, I'm putting myself at great risk because on November 4th, Project Veritas came under attack. I woke to the news that apartments and homes of Project Veritas journalists, or former journalists, had been raided by FBI agents. It appears the Southern District of New York now has journalists in their sights for the supposed crime of doing their jobs lawfully and honestly, or at least this journalist. I had to think long and hard before making this statement. It's a decision that only I can make. They don't want me to defend myself and immediately try to silence me. That's why the cover letter to the grand jury subpoena we received contains this language. Quote, "The government hereby requests that you voluntarily refrain from disclosing the existence of the subpoena to any third party. While you are under no obligation to comply with our request, we are requesting you not to make any disclosure in order to preserve the confidentiality of the investigation and because the disclosure of the existence of this investigation might interfere with and impede the investigation," unquote. But while the Department of Justice requested us to not disclose the existence of the subpoena, something very unusual happened. Within an hour of one of our reporters' homes being secretly raided by the FBI, the New York Times, who we are currently suing for defamation, contacted the Project Veritas reporter to ask for comment. We do not know how the New York Times was aware of the execution of a search warrant at our reporter's home or the subject matter of the search warrant, as a grand jury investigation is secret. The FBI took materials of current former Project Veritas journalists, despite the fact that our legal team previously contacted the Department of Justice and voluntarily conveyed unassailable facts that demonstrate Project Veritas's lack of involvement in criminal activity and or criminal intent. Like any reporter, we regularly deal with the receipt of source information and take steps to verify its authenticity, legality, and newsworthiness. Our efforts were the stuff of responsible.
So I'll drop it there. But there
That
was
sounds familiar.
Essentially, he talks about how someone sold them a diary that was like Joe Biden's daughter or some shit, and they were like, "Well, we can't prove it's true, so we'll try to give it back." And then the FBI got really mad that they were trying to give back the diary.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that. Like I saw that like a headline or something, or somebody was talking about it, but I hadn't had a chance to look at it.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I try to stay away from until like a week has gone by, because everyone who rushes to have an opinion on it ends up looking like an idiot one way or another.
Well, and it's so like it could go either way.
Right.
But, everybody in that circumstance is shady as fuck. So
yeah, but it definitely kind of goes to the point of, I mean, it would be cool if Veritas did anything about the WikiLeaks stuff. We could use some undercover WikiLeaks people, because he mentioned exactly like, you know, journalists being targeted for handling confidential source material. I'm like,
did they even talk about WikiLeaks or Julian Assange?
The only thing that they released the full, not previously released video of audio recording of Julian calling the State Department, trying to get the names of informants redacted.
We already had that though from
right, but it was the full audio
piece
of it. I'm pretty sure it hadn't been.
Is that the only time they've ever talked about Julian Assange though? For real?
As far as I'm aware, I mean, I can keyword search their Twitter or whatever and see if they
that's
at least
true,
like tweet or whatever.
Y'all, whatever, like any tiny bit of like maybe like.
No. They don't actually have Twitter or Facebook. They got suspended off of both. So you may have to do like an
but that's a long ass time. They've been in existence for a long ass time, and to be the only time that you've ever talked about Julian Assange, and you're
never released something. I don't know if they've talked about him or not.
Well,
but
that's
I
what I'm
invited
asking.
him on the Vigil. This is the second time I've invited him, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I hope he comes on and we can ask him.
I'm using my Google Foo.
Are you?
Uh-huh. And I'm going on Gab, so wish me luck.
Oh. Okay. Yeah. But that would be crazy if that was the only time that they ever mentioned Julian Assange. You know what I mean? Especially given as often as they claim. Like, I'm not saying that they aren't censored; they absolutely are. But I'm just like, you know, to be all about
that close to the same.
Yeah, and that's why I'm asking if that's the only time they've ever mentioned Julian Assange. That's a whole other level.
Apparently, a year ago, they were involved with petitioning the State Department. To
that's it, really
get him essentially the same thing everybody did to get him pardoned by Trump. But that's all I'm seeing so far.
Holy balls!
That's all right, though. That's all right, as long as they, you know. My enemy's enemy is my friend, kind of thing.
No, I'm just saying, like, it makes you're like, I'm now incredibly suspicious of you to be Project Veritas and to, you know, have to deal with all of the First Amendment issues that they have to deal with, and then to not talk about Julian Assange. That would be weird. That's weird. You know, I just immediately
I agree with that. I agree with that.
Like all the journalists who like made a ton of money and got a whole lot of like status upgrades for themselves off of Julian's work, have completely thrown him under the bus. And to be like an independent media space and to not, I mean, that's just that I just immediately like, nope.
It's just all I see here on Gab on any of their accounts, and then anything on Google.
Were they like completely wiped off Twitter, or can we search?
Yeah, they were
gone. But the only thing I see is that full State Department call is the only time that they mentioned it, and then publicly petitioning along with like Cassandra Fairbanks and everyone else that did that when
Right.
Trump was about to leave office. Not mad, just disappointed.
This is
No,
just
I'm
the
mad.
beginning. Next week, the CIA is going to steal Ken Klippenstein's laptop. It's only going to get
They
worse.
probably
Wait,
already
isn't
have
that
it.
like stealing your own laptop, kind of?
Oh.
I
We need this
mean,
back. Sorry.
You know,
Yeah, there was that Intercept person. It wasn't on the Intercept, but it was somebody connected with them that released that article about the history of red-brown alliances to now, and it literally included like Vanessa Beeley, it included Whitney Webb, it included like I'm like, shut up.
God.
They literally said noted white supremacist Whitney Webb, and I'm like,
yeah, that's a whole other. That's
fucking-
like, it's ridiculous. And the whole red brown alliance, I'm so sick of hearing about it. I'm so sick. Like, people are calling like free speech activists Nazis and like fascist adjacent, and
Yep.
it's, what are you talking about?
Mhm.
Like, it's none of these words have any meaning at all.
Mhm.
Like, they have no meaning whatsoever. Like, progressive, Nancy Pelosi's progressive, Hillary Clinton's progressive, and none, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
I think it shows they've done a good enough job of forcing everyone to equate choosing to censor yourself as an expression of your freedom. That somehow that makes sense to some people, that the more you muzzle yourself, you can tell yourself you're doing it willingly, and it's not you giving up a freedom. It's just you making the right choice and accepting the new normal and just sucking it up, progressive style.
Yeah, and dude, did you get? I mean, I don't know how closely you guys follow all this shit, but I like to keep track of all, because man, we got to expose the shit out of these people, because people are still taking them seriously, but like they're getting on Twitter and straight up lying about, like, just obviously blatantly, and there are still people taking them seriously.
Yeah,
we got to break that spell, y'all. We got to break that spell. It's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
There's been like increasing, which it's kind of good for us, but I don't think it's good in general. Although over the last week, there's been increasing divisions among the political spectrum, and some of these people are causing it, which is good for a lot of people to show that they're just shit stirrers and all they do is cause problems. But it also is just causing like a lot more splits in the movement.
Yeah. That's the point.
Because like you had like the official Communist Party of the USA were like going after people, and then you had like our favorite bog witch getting into a war with Chad Loader on fucking Twitter, which
the
is like
bog hag.
So yeah, like that, it's
Ow, Jack.
They're obviously ramping up like the split and divide conquer as much as possible right now, and it happens to line up with like a
signal.
Yeah, it happens to line up a lot with a lot of important things that are going on, which makes me very suspicious.
Yeah. Oh, it's exhausting too, because it's the same story every. Jack, seriously, I'm sorry. This cat is driving me nuts. Okay.
So, David, has there been any updates in your case in the last month or so since we've had you on?
My case.
Besides the mustache.
Oh,
yeah, mustache.
I like it.
Yeah, that's my latest thing. And a little bit of a bandit. No, we've had small wins. It's like, as I said, it's like a world war. We get little battles each day, which go our way. We raise a bit more money. We things like Friendly Geordies, that's good. Yes, we watch with held breath the sort of polling for the coming federal election. If the ruling Conservative Party lose that would be very good for my case.
When is that election?
Well, we don't know. They get to, unlike America, they get to choose the date themselves within a certain band. So it'll be.
Well, let us know when that is. We can try to get like a tweet storm together.
That'd be good. Yeah, that'd be good because it's always close, and it's always there's always a bit like your electoral college. It's not so much on the complete number of votes. It depends on where the votes come in, and sometimes particular seats can be close, and as a result of a few close seats, it decides who's going to be in the government. So it is worth getting all hands on deck. Oh, I've got something good tonight. There's an opening of a movie called Ithaca, which is the story of John Crichton's journey around the world, as far as I understand it, trying to agitate for Julian. And it's opening in Australia tonight, and I've been asked to make a speech.
Oh, good.
Along with a few other people, which will be good, and it'll be a lot of good people there.
And his brother Gabriel Shipton is a producer on that as well, so that's really cool for him. Yeah,
I don't know him yet, but I think he made the movie. Yeah,
he's very nice. I got to meet him twice. He's very soft, very soft spoken. Like if you ever have John Shipton on your show, you better make sure you have good audio. He's so sweet and soft spoken. They both are. It's
He's what he says. You have to listen carefully, but what he says is very intelligent, and a lot of historical references, and he's good to listen to actually.
Yes.
I actually found I'm pretty sure it's the right one. I believe this is their fundraiser for it. So I'm going to drop this link in the chat for anyone that'd like to donate. I'm going to double check before I do, but I'm pretty sure this is the link for that documentary.
And Rob wants
play the trailer for it.
Hold on. For Ithaca?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Oh, I have to put it on, don't I?
No, I got it.
Okay. I was looking up something else. I was trying to get David's fundraiser page because Rob asked for it.
I was just about to go do that myself. So
okay.
Be lazy again.
Yeah.
I got it whenever you're ready, Misty. It's waiting.
Oh. See you guys. Okay, there you go.
What's at stake? For Julian, his life. For you guys, any prestige that you can gather as a journalist protects you. So this will be the end. Nobody ever again will be able to get the assistance of 100,000 people worldwide to defend them, 100 lawyers, 6 jurisdictions in order to defend Julian Assange. It'll never happen again. If he goes down, so will journalism.
We will never accept that journalism is a crime in this country or any other. Let's not forget that US agents plotted to kill Julian on British soil. Their illegal operations even targeted our 6-month-old baby. Julian's freedom is coupled to all our freedom, and our freedoms are lost in the blink of an eye. I ask you all to shout louder, lobby harder, until he is free. I call on the President of the United States to end this now. Let our little boys have their father. Free Julian. Free the press. Free us all.
Stella makes my heart so warm every time.
Yeah.
I just love that one.
All of that, like, it makes me angry and really, really sad.
Yeah, we could tell you didn't sleep for like a week.
No, and I'm telling you, she posted. Did you guys see the boys' Halloween costumes? Gabriel was a wizard. He was a wizard. And
I saw you got upset about that.
Well, Julian's nickname as a child was the Wizard. Like that's because he was very analytical and tried to figure things out and all that stuff. And then Caitlin Johnstone recently made this amazing multimedia piece, and it's like this really amazing. It's kind of like spoken word-ish, but then she also does like watercolors to go along with it. And then there's music in the background, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful. And I'm not kidding you. I've been talking about this. I had like some burnout going on, right? I was very exhausted. I was exhausted. And I sobbed for like an hour after seeing that picture. I'm like ugly cry, sobbed. Like I could not stop. Like it, oh, good Lord. It makes me so sad. Yes, it makes me so sad. You know what I'm saying? Like he's a journalist. He did nothing wrong. They have no fucking case. And it's absurd that he's still in prison. I mean, like Stella just said in that video, the CIA literally was plotting to kill him or kidnap him, whatever would work out better. They were talking about shootouts in the streets of London with Russia, and all kinds of bullshit. And this dude did nothing wrong. He did nothing wrong. Like, he didn't break any laws. I mean, he did what journalists do every single day. That's what journalism is supposed to be. And it's a decade of psychological torture, 2.5 years in a supermax prison. That's unacceptable. Sorry.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right.
Ugh, I just get so pissed off. It really makes me angry.
Yeah, well,
Obviously, if you can't tell.
Yeah, and
yeah.
I mean, and then like they're definitely ramping up kind of any degree of censorship against anyone talking about it or anything, because the whole Talk Liberation piece came out about the Dragnet that we're all on, and they created a brand new Twitter account for it just to talk about this story. And it is already deboosted. It is already put in the bottom of the replies. It is banned from search results. It is hasn't tweeted anything but this story. Doesn't follow anybody, not just instantly. Nope. Yeah. Don't talk about WikiLeaks. Don't talk about the some spooky, totally not front for the CIA spying on random people because they tweeted hashtag. Like, don't talk about that.
Right? And seriously, the fact that they
I hit up Sean O'Brien trying to get him on. I want to actually be able to break it down and do a really nice audio piece with it.
Yeah, there's a lot there.
There is a lot. Yeah. I haven't even looked through all of it because I was just like, okay. You know what I mean? Like, all right.
It's like, yeah, it checks out. I don't need to be convinced. Makes perfect sense to me.
I just that kind of stuff I can't even think about it. Like, I just have to keep, doing whatever. It's a distraction. It's a distraction. I don't care. Like, I don't care. Like, they're gonna have me on a list. We're all on lists. You know what I mean? Like, we just have to keep moving. You know what I mean? I can't be deterred by like being scared because I'm on some list.
To me, it like almost justifies everything.
Pray for really evil enemies, because there's nothing that guarantees victory like that, and it's the best.
Yeah, these are the worst people on earth.
These are really bad. They really are bad guys. Really
psychopaths. We're ruled by psychopaths, and those are the people who are. It's so frustrating because we keep pretending like this is the best we can do. Like, everybody's just like, yep. This is the best we can do. Guess what? No, it doesn't have to be this way, y'all. It really does not.
And this will probably make you Misty, and you David laugh and or cry at the state of humanity. But just yesterday I got into a giant debate with a woman, and in the middle of this debate she used pictures to complement her argument, and the pictures of her were her being a prison guard outside of Abu Ghraib, smiling, like, and she just admitted, like, yeah, I worked at Abu Ghraib, like, and she has all these pictures of her like smiling and everything like that. And just like you said, like, evil people, no regret, not embarrassed, anything, will literally, an unrelated discussion, bring up the fact that she worked as a prison guard at a war crimes camp. So, like, yes, these people are fucked. Like, these people are not good people.
I know the majority, but never fear. I mean, we're like the French Resistance, or everybody likes to think they're in it, but the majority of people were collaborators with the Germans. The majority of people all through the ages, I mean, they strangled the guy that translated the Bible into English, all those years ago. And unfortunately, the minority people, well, they always get a bad deal. But we are right, and they are pretty bad. You're right; they've got no sense of irony. People making millions and millions of dollars, and so much that they can have your own private space program. And yet,
Kathy Bogan, real quick, said Ithaca is tomorrow night, not tonight, that it's premiering.
Well, for David, it might be tonight. I don't know. The time's weird.
No, it's tomorrow night.
Okay.
It's tomorrow night for me. Now you're confusing even me. Yeah.
And where is that premiering? Is it just going to be on YouTube or?
No, it's at a film festival.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's
To start. I'm sure it'll eventually be.
I would say.
Yeah.
We can't watch it. Won't.
Not yet.
Food
Although,
Mm.
Gabriel should send us a copy, like a preview. That would be. I would love.
I know.
That.
I know. It'd be poetic for me to pirate a WikiLeaks documentary, but I really don't want to because I like
Yeah.
Gabriel. So, like,
You should.
No,
That
I'm
sounds
happy
like
to.
fun.
I'll even. You guys know. I'll you know.
fight for it.
Yeah,
No,
absolutely, absolutely.
Which is a really rare thing for me to say. So that should be something.
right. I mean, I will. Yes, 100%. So. Yeah, I can't wait to see it. Like, there's so much. It's terrible to say this because Julian's situation is horrific, but there's so much amazing projects, so many amazing projects coming out. Like Stefania Maruzzi has a book out, Nils Melzer has a book out. There's Ithaca that's coming out. Juan Passarelli's working on another documentary.
Yep.
It's weird to say that I'm excited. Like, I feel terrible saying I'm excited because it's. Like, it's a weird thing to be excited about.
You deserve to be excited. But again, it's very late in the game, but there's finally a huge wave of attention in a lot of spaces that we weren't getting it before.
Yeah.
And
Kevin
again,
Nicola actually did a piece with Richard Medhurst about the second day of court reporting, and Kevin talked about how for the first time there was tons of almost double what there normally is. There was 40 to 50 journalists that tuned in on the first day and almost as many the second day. Where historically there's been a solid 15 to 20 people. And Michael Isikoff actually entered the virtual courtroom to listen to the defense use his articles in defense of Julian. Not that it's going to be the thing that even stops this entire process, because I don't want to sell it as hope because the whole system's so corrupt at this point. But
people keep asking me what my prediction is. Like, what do you think?
The U.S. admitted what my prediction is. They said it straight in the courthouse that if they fail, they'll just put another one.
Let's do it again.
Yep. Yeah, we've been saying this the whole time. The process is the punishment. They just want to drag this out for as long as possible. That's why there's no deadline on this decision that they have to make, really. So it can take weeks, it can take months, they can take their sweet ass time.
Because I riled a lot of people up to get mad about it that were unaware of the situation. And now they
good work, Magnus.
They DM me or they comment on my thing so what's going on with Assange? And I'm like, nothing. And that's the point.
Yes.
That's exactly the point.
That is exactly the point.
Another white pill is Jake Tran. He's a YouTuber. He just does random investigative things like videos on video games and stuff. He randomly released a 30-minute video about the CIA's plot to assassinate Julian Assange. And that is currently the largest video on his channel with 1 million views, and that came out 2 days ago.
Nice.
His average views are 300,000. That has 1 million.
Can you send that to me?
Yeah.
I'll drop it. I'll drop it in the chat.
That's amazing.
So this is really a random guy. I checked his profile. He hadn't mentioned anything.
I'm telling you, people want to know.
Yep.
And once people hear what's happening, it's very easy to get them what? What? That's really happening?
That's 90% of the comments in this is I thought last I heard about him was the Hillary thing. What the fuck's going on here? And it's
yeah. And even there's so much propaganda that there's a couple different people I come across, people who've never heard of him and people who hate him, but they can't tell you why. You know what I mean? They just know that they hate him. And it's whatever propaganda that they've thrown at him that they've decided to let sink in, whether it's the hacker stuff, the sexual assault allegations, he's a traitor. That's my favorite.
All these comments.
Russian.
Hey, come check us
out. Yeah.
I think I'm in there somewhere in the comments.
I think I might have shared that before, but I was quite stunned once speaking to a sort of middle-aged, wealthy woman in Australia whose mother was a Holocaust survivor, and Julian Assange came up, and she was like, "Oh, I hate Julian Assange. He's a narcissist." And I was thinking that's a very strange opinion for you to have, considering your whole family and your relatives were wiped out by a bad government, and this guy who's had the balls to stand up to bad governments, and yet you've jumped on the bandwagon. I think you don't like him because of his haircut or something.
Yes, that's very weird to me when people like it's this emotional reaction and they like it doesn't. Here's the thing: it doesn't matter if you like him. I've never met him. I have no idea what he's like. He could be the biggest asshole on planet Earth. That doesn't matter. What matters is what's happening to him is wrong and it's dangerous for all of us. And that's what should like why I don't know why anybody's more like curious about his personality or his quirks or whatever. Who gives a fuck? I don't care.
Yeah, it's
You know
all
what I
it's all
mean?
distractions aside.
Psychology is very important.
Exactly.
And the same woman though was very concerned about George Floyd and Black Lives Matter. She was kind of right on board about that. So it's interesting to see that what people the psychology is very important. You're right. Whether they see people as a traitor, I get called a traitor a lot, or a breaker of the rules. That's half the battle. Although, in case we get cut off, I will say, depressing as it is, Misty, we are going to win. I do think the momentum's on our side.
I have to hold a little bit of hope.
In Second World War terms, it's like El Alamein or something like that. We are
middle of Stalingrad.
Yeah, Stalingrad. There we go.
That's why I feel so bad because we're in the middle of Stalingrad.
I like Stalingrad. I even go as far as say it's the Normandy landing. So I reckon we are on the way to Berlin, and so we just need to keep on doing what you're doing. Go all harder. My vision is to see a sea of humanity coming out on the British motorways if they ever try to move him to the airport. And just blocking all the roads, they'll take him by helicopters. I want to call for like a swarm of drones to block the helicopters.
And I honestly think that's another reason they're dragging it out. I think Misty's right that it is to slowly drive him insane, but I also think there's a lingering thing in the back of their head that if they did try to move him, they're going to have to deal with people. And people are probably not going to be cool with it.
No, that's why they want to drag it out. They want to. I mean, I don't think they really want to extradite him. They just want to drag it out as long as humanly possible and cause as much damage. And it's not just the damage that they're doing to Julian Assange. It's this is an overused term, but the chilling effect that it'll have and has had. It's very apparent across journalism, in general. And that's around the world. Like people, you see it. Like there's very few people who I actually consider journalists, like people who are actually doing the work and not just being, regurgitators of propaganda for profit. It's not just what's happening to Julian, and it's a lot of people are forgetting that. That's what I'm saying. Like they use all of these personal attacks against him in an effort to distract from the fact that it really has nothing to do with that. This is dangerous for everybody. Like this is a big fucking deal. This will be the first journalist ever to be prosecuted under the Espionage Act. And that sets a precedent. Like we can't come back. Like the Patriot Act, y'all, that was supposed to be temporary. And once you lose those rights, you're never going to get them back. And you're like handing them over willingly. Like you're just, they're doing this in broad daylight. Like they're not hiding it. I mean, yes, there's no media coverage, but it's not like they're hiding it. You know what I'm saying? Like they're dragging it out very publicly. You can get the information if you want, it's a little bit more difficult than other, maybe cases. Like it's a process to get, a video access or whatever. And they usually wait till the last minute to give you approval. But yeah, it's just really frustrating. It's really, really frustrating.
I can confirm that from the Australian end too. In my position, you don't really think about it that much because you don't think about other people. But journalists have said to my lawyers, it has had the chilling effect. A lot of people, even people who were going to come forward with stories, have got cold feet, and journalists and newspaper organisations won't cover things as readily as they used to. So that is the effect. And if they're probably doing a sort of an evil headquarters whiteboard study, they'd be saying exactly it's irrelevant what happens to Julian. The 10 years we have harassed him. We have stopped more Julians coming along, so it's like a tick in the box. What we really have to do, even hard as it is for more people to leak, more people to run stories, and everybody, even if you're only like in charge of government garbage collection, if you have a story to tell, go and tell it because they can't put everybody in jail.
It's the bed of nails effect. More nails you have, the less it's going to hurt. And that's why I'm a giant fan of yours, David, and something that I've had to do recently with everything I'm going through is to make it clear to people when you explain what happens when you're being targeted, and no matter how bad it gets, to communicate to the people you're talking to of like, don't let this just demoralize you. Like, don't let like what I'm going through make you afraid. It should empower you. It should make you mad. And the more people go through this and the more people step up to this, the less it's going to be. And you shouldn't be afraid of this, because a lot of times I feel people don't caveat that, and you hit really hard on that, David, which is why I appreciate
well, and I think
it.
we need to make it very clear that we support people like David, and that we support people like Julian Assange. Like we have that ability to, if we this has happened all throughout the course of humanity. We always punish our truth tellers. We mock them. We otherize them. We sneer them. And we need to figure out how to change that, because we should stand with our truth tellers.
As Magnus said, one of the key things this is why I love your program as well. It's a sort of symbiotic thing, because it's important as a truth teller that you don't hang your head in shame, you don't hide, but you're like, I'm happy. You can kill me. I'm not. It's not going to put me off. I mean, it sounds bravado, but it's true. If I was facing execution, it wouldn't be pleasant for my children, but it wouldn't change what I'm doing. And you've got to be proud. And in fact, I often, when I'm down, I thank God for my enemies, because they have given me a whole identity. They've given me a purpose, and it's a glorious purpose to have, to be fighting a really bad enemy, and we need to rejoice in it. Yeah, don't shy away from it. I don't think I've ever liked myself as much until my career was falling apart and I was facing jail, and I finally, we know that cliche that you're meant to kind of like yourself. I never particularly honestly liked myself until that point, until I'd given up all the trimmings of life to actually be someone and stand for something. It's a tremendous. It's nothing to shy away from. It's actually it's a tremendous gift. And
that's so beautiful, honestly. Like, that's
really
so
is.
beautiful what you just said. I mean, I know that's like sappy and weird, but it's seriously, that's a really beautiful thing you just said. And I honestly, David, I would like to think I have that kind of courage, but I don't know. I've never been in that position. And that's, to me, that seems incredibly courageous to take. I mean, just because of the powers that be that you're up against, to be up against the most powerful empire in the world and human history, maybe. That's like, I tell the story all the time with Julian Assange. He, after being, in the Ecuadorian embassy in illegal and arbitrary detention for years, he published Vault 7. Like, he still went ahead and published the largest CIA leak in history. That, I don't know if I would do that.
Yeah.
That's crazy brave.
Yeah.
It's good. And he must have had that moment when he thought, do I, don't I? And again, he must have had a similar kind of thinking to say, fuck it, I'm going to go down in flames. Or like me, you just feel like you have to. It's going to be hard. It's going to cause ramifications. It's going to cause, them to try and kill me, but I have to do this. And I think that's a wonderful, and even better than I have to do it, but I can't wait. That's who changes history. People who ride to the sound of gunfire,
Yeah. Laugh in the face of death and
exactly. Yeah, exactly. Rather than think, oh, woe is me. Yeah. I'm glad, and that's the attitude. Because the one good thing about that is our enemies hate it. They hate to see us smile. They hate to see us say, "Bring it on, put me in jail." You're still going to have a tiny penis and a fucking, there's no doubt. I love saying that. One day I said, at the guy, our attorney general who was prosecuting me, and ended up allegedly being a sort of a sex pest, and which gave me great pleasure being able to say there isn't anyone in Australia who doubts that I am 10 times the man. And then the Attorney General. And I couldn't help but laugh when I said it, because I know that will get back to him, and I know that he would have just thrown his computer over the wall. beat one of his monkeys, you know.
It always reminds me of Dankula's only comment to the media after getting out of trial for them trying to put him in jail over a YouTube video, and the press is like, "Do you have any comments?" He's like, "Yeah, you're all snakes," and then he walks away. Yeah.
That's the kind of attitude we need.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Because obviously you need to fuse with fashion with right, and that will appeal to people.
Yep.
We need to be the people that give the middle finger to the world, and that's great because it shows that we're not trying to curry mass favor. We know we're right, and we couldn't give a shit. I mean, there's something that kind of about the
As Kathy brings out in the chat, you can even double down on that. Not only did he release Vault 7, he was given the option to walk away from all this by Trump if he just told him the source. And he said, "Nope, I'll sit in jail." And it's like,
that's true. That's
legendary.
a powerful thing. I didn't know that. That's a good one. I'm glad you brought that up because that's pretty powerful because he must have again had to think about that, and he would have also had a fair bit of pressure about the family and for him to say, "I won't reveal the source," that's ballsy, you know.
Yeah. One of my favorite quotes is of Julian's, and I'm paraphrasing it, but it's like, "You can't be in your prime and have convictions and not act on them."
Yeah.
You know, you're compelled to act on them. It's that simple.
Every time we witness an injustice and don't act, we can. I mean, this is paraphrasing too. We condition ourselves to accept that injustice.
Yeah,
and
then we lose the ability to defend ourselves and the ones we love.
Because that's the thing I always posit to my followers, and some people get really mad about it, but I don't care. Is like, there is a line eventually where inaction equals compliance. Like, period. Like there is a line. We might not have hit it completely yet, but we're rapidly approaching. And you know, that's the good. Seeming it is the 5th of November. That's the good quote. One of my favorite quotes from that movie of like. Once again, paraphrasing, but V's talking on the TV to all of the nation after he hacks the thing, and he's like, if you want to look to where to blame for all of this being this way, you need to look no further than a mirror. And it's like,
whoa, what is that?
That
comes back to, you know.
I can play that. I love that.
Oh yeah, I love that fucking movie so much.
Can I play that?
You might get copyright struck, but good luck. I mean,
it's
it's on other places on YouTube, so you might get away with it.
I don't know it.
Actually, no. You can go to my Twitter. I retweeted it.
Oh, I got it already.
Okay, cool.
I got it pulled up. There's an ad I gotta wait for.
When you said Kathy in the comments, I wasn't even like paying attention because I was trying to figure out why the hell my banners weren't working. I'm not tech savvy, and it's Kathy Vogan. Hi, Kathy.
Yeah,
I love Kathy. Okay, do I have to add it, Andrew? Whatever you're playing.
I'm screen sharing it. It'll pop up in a second.
Okay.
Very professional show.
Right.
I
keep meaning to take over, but I gotta get set up as like a mod.
I'm fine. Like it's fine.
I just feel bad because it was like all of one day, like, hey, let's do it this way, and then
it's honestly fine. Like I just bitch about it more just to bitch about it. You guys know how I am. So yeah, it's not that bad. Really.
Points to YouTube channel named bitch.
I was about to say, have you been here?
But I got it ready if you wanna.
Oh yeah, sorry, I see.
Yeah, this is my favorite part of this whole movie.
Dad, what's wrong with the telly?
Good evening, London. Allow me first to apologize for this emergency channel. I do, like many of you, appreciate the comforts of the everyday routine, the security of the familiar, the tranquility of repetition. Bloody hell. I enjoy them as much as any bloke. But in the spirit of commemoration, whereby those important events of the past, usually associated with someone's death or the end of some awful bloody struggle, are celebrated with a nice holiday, I thought we could mark this November the 5th, a day that is sadly no longer remembered, by taking some time out of our daily lives to sit down and have a little chat. There are, of course, those who do not want us to speak.
Just let me think.
I suspect even now, orders are being shouted into telephones, and men with guns will soon be on their way.
It's Chancellor Sutler.
Damn it.
Why? Because while the truncheon may be used in lieu of conversation, words will always retain their power. Words offer the means to meaning, and for those who will listen, the enunciation of truth. And the truth is, there is something terribly wrong with this country, isn't there?
You designed it, sir. You wanted it foolproof. You told me every television in London.
Cruelty and injustice, intolerance and oppression. And where once you had the freedom to object, to think and speak as you saw fit, you now have censors and systems of surveillance, coercing your conformity and soliciting your submission.
We need cameras.
How did this happen? Who's to blame? Well, certainly there are those who are more responsible than others, and they will be held accountable. But again, truth be told, if you're looking for the guilty, you need only look into a mirror. I know why you did it. I know you were afraid. Who wouldn't be? War, terror, disease. There were a myriad of problems which conspired to corrupt your reason and rob you of your common sense. Fear got the best of you, and in your panic you turned to the now High Chancellor Adam Sutler. He promised you order, he promised you peace, and all he demanded in return was your silent, obedient consent.
Inspector, you're almost through.
Last night I sought to end that silence. Last night I destroyed the Old Bailey to remind this country of what it has forgotten. More than 400 years ago, a great citizen wished to embed the 5th of November forever in our memory. His hope was to remind the world that fairness, justice, and freedom are more than words. They are perspectives. So if you've seen nothing, if the crimes of this government remain unknown to you, then I would suggest that you allow the 5th of November to pass unmarked. But if you see what I see, if you feel as I feel, and if you would seek as I seek, then I ask you to stand beside me 1 year from tonight, outside the gates of Parliament, and together we shall give them a 5th of November that shall never, ever be forgotten.
I love this movie so much. And it's funny because there was a riot in front of Parliament today. So it's perfect.
But I tell you, it's what's scary. You will have seen it all the time, but there can be big protests in the UK now. There's been anti-lock, and they don't get any coverage at all.
Yeah.
You know, it's like they don't exist, and that's quite scary. As you guys know, that's the precursor to a whole, you know, the Matrix going on where the real world is no longer portrayed. Yeah, it's very scary, that.
Yeah, because a point somebody made to me, and it was really profound. It was a random guy on Twitter, and he kind of just threw it out there. But I think it's very true that a lot of people think the point of propaganda is to get you to believe the lies, to affect how you view the world or anything like that. That's not the point of propaganda. The point of propaganda is to demoralize you, to make you feel like you're crazy and alone and nobody believes you and you're all by yourself and there's nothing you can do about it. That's the point of propaganda. And hiding protests and, you know, gaslighting people and everything. That's why they do all this, to make it seem like it's impossible.
Yeah.
100%.
That's honestly why I've been debating internally about doing a big style like we've done for everything else, anti-lockdown protests, is just because we can get it in front of everybody.
We can combine protests again. Let's do that.
That's what I mean.
Because that's what just happened today. Like I said, it was 3 separate protests that merged into one and turned into this big, huge thing.
This is how we do it.
Because you had Jeremy Corbyn and Extinction Rebellion people, and then you had a bunch of Anons, and then a bunch of anti-lockdown people all just show up in the same place and be like, cool.
Yeah, I love it. When they make the movie of this time of the world in 20 years' time, they're going to have things like that.
I hope
You're going to have all of Julian's good quotes, and all the people that lived through it will be like, "Oh, I didn't realize that that's what was actually going on." You know.
Mm-hmm. I just keep running into the problem of accidentally winning because I planned a bunch of big anti-lockdown stuff, and it was going to be big. I had some very interesting people that were going to be involved, and then Whitmer came out and was like, "We're banning mandates," and I was like, "Oh, I guess I won. I'll go home."
That's what I'm trying to do in my local school district. Like it's one of those like I don't want to have.
Andrew's
to do
getting
this.
pulled out of like what was it? Oh,
I got pulled out of a school board meeting by a sheriff
you, school
because they
board.
wouldn't let me talk in the open forum. They were like, "Oh no, you got here late," and I was like, "I was 4 minutes early. Like I'm not late. Like I'm talking." Yeah.
Even
That's
if
that's pretty bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
And then I called like every branch of government and I was like, hey, these people are being kind of fucky. And then last meeting, Yeti actually joined me. It was really cool. Props to Yeti for coming out with me.
Hi, Yeti.
I put posters up leading up to the event around a whole bunch of the school board meeting, around a whole bunch of different schools. And there was one other parent that I got, and I had done it 2 days before the meeting. So I'm just going to keep hammering away at it because they haven't taken my posters down yet. They were probably expecting the rain to wash them away, but they didn't. So I'm probably going to go around and just poster up every school and see if I can't get other parents. I didn't want to I don't put it on social media much that I do it. I just asked if a couple people wanted to join, but it's fun as much as it sucks to have to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I would really rather not have to do this shit, but here we are.
I'm not sure what all of us would do otherwise, though. That's the thing.
Yeah,
so,
that's
and the irony of the universe.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
The resistance.
Come on, the world's history in the world's largest and most powerful empire feels the need to spend money to spy on you, Misty. Get a little pride.
That's true. Think of who's going to play in the movie.
Oh,
right? Oh my God.
Look at her face. You should be happy about that.
Uma Thurman.
Yeah.
Really? I usually get Cameron Diaz.
But she's.
I could see that.
No. That's like being very generous. Uma Thurman's being hella generous.
I call dibs on Jason Momoa for me.
Oh my God, are you kidding me, Magnus?
It's got to have somebody who can fit the beard, man. It's very important.
Like he's Jai freaking Normus.
Like I'm a twiggy little.
Yes, you were like a tiny little.
I'm the hero of my own story. Okay?
Seth Rogen, I guess, would be me.
I was gonna say I want Jack Black to be me if I even
that
get
works.
put in the movie, but then he did the like Velociraptor at the UN.
Oh yeah.
He made like a hyper globalist video about
he voiced that Velociraptor.
Yeah, he voiced the Velociraptor, and I'm like, man, you made me sad,
dude.
Like,
Only thing I saw about that entire video was just people making lizards do run the government jokes, and that's it.
Yeah.
All right, so we got Uma Thurman, Jason Momoa, Jack Black, and Seth Rogen starring in a taut psychological political thriller.
That sounds like the weirdest movie maybe ever made. You know what I'm saying? Daniel said those are all good casting calls. Hi, Daniel. I love Daniel. Daniel has a billboard campaign. Huh? Wait, yeah. Daniel has a billboard campaign. I'll talk about it real quick, but I'll also throw the link in the chat.
David, I'm going to say Richard Gere.
Yeah. I don't think it's going to be a good movie.
We got a movie. I was about to say.
I think phones are ringing in Hollywood at the moment.
Let's start crowdfunding this thing.
Oh goodness!
It's going to be big.
Despite
the Chicago 7, you know.
I would say, despite that movie being kind of a smear piece clusterfuck, Cumberbatch playing Assange, still great casting. It worked pretty well.
Good. He was very good in the Mauritanian when he plays a bit like me. He plays like the sort of jag guy who realizes he's on the wrong side and does the very honourable thing and gives up his whole career. It's a good it's a very good. It's good to know that there are people like that in the JAG Corps. I mean, I thought that was terrific because that's hard, and of course he gets totally hated by everybody else he works with. And there are, of course, people like that. But yeah, as you've seen over the Afghanistan thing, there's quite a few of those American people that have resigned or pushed out. And I think that's terrific. Just like that there were sort of Germans in the Nazi army that were, tried to kill Hitler, etc. So there is glimmers of hope. Yeah. I really do think we're going to win.
Operation Valkyrie.
Yeah, Valkyrie. And there was
See,
another
see,
one.
me and David can just fucking history nerd for the rest of the month.
We can talk forever. In fact, I read something really interesting which you'd like, and it was about the people who did the escape and evasion, broke people out of the prisoner of war camps. But there was a guy in there, it was a really fucking rock star guy in the German army who just was running. He was a bit like a sort of a Inglorious Bastards thing, but he was running his own, like, just setting free people. And in Italy, he was like this double agent who was just creating havoc.
So that's actually a thing I wish would start happening here in the U.S. Like as fucked up as it is to have to say, because right now nobody has employees, right? Like even prisons are reporting they don't have enough people to actually maintain their shifts and watches and shit like that. So, like personally, I think it's a prime moment for something like that to exist again, because the U.S. in court is known to have the worst prison systems, and that's not even talking about like immigration detention.
About to say, where are my rogue ICE agents at?
Yeah. So there's like this moment here that could be seized for that similar thing here in the United States. Like there's children, like Project Veritas was the only people to actually release a video inside of one of these immigration centers. And it's literally just little kids kept like 50 per glass fish tank, sleeping on the floor under little metal blankets. So there's
I do have an update to that too. I brought up, maybe not, it wasn't on here, but I brought up in my other stream of my friend Prison. He's in Ohio, and he's been targeted very heavily by the FBI, and he got arrested. And instead of taking him to the county jail, they took him to the local ICE detention center and threw him in there. Really weird. So yeah, there's totally a distinction between our federal law enforcement and our local law enforcement.
Yeah, no, that'd be a good thing to do. Join up, see the truth, and that's often the people who do it. Like there was a guy that blew open the whole banking system in Australia, and the reason he was quite a high rank, he was an investment banker. He was a very smart guy, but his wife was the breadwinner, and he needed to get like a part-time job, and he went back and he got a job in which he was very overqualified for in his local bank branch. And he began to see that the whole place was a can of worms, that nothing was being complied with. It was a bit like that. He was in a job that he was overqualified for, and eventually ended up getting this huge inquiry into the bank because he could see that nobody took any banking laws seriously. It was a free-for-all. We're ripping off pensioners, and it was just the go. It was like the boiler room, in these banks. And it's amazing what you can find out when you can go to pretty much any industry and get on the inside and see what's really going on.
Yeah.
Dead air. Where's Sleepy Josh when we need
songs for us, Jesse?
Yes.
Yeah.
People have been requesting Militia Intent and Conviction. And I'm always down for live Jesse Jett. So we can do that.
Before that, though, I do have to tap out because I have some other things I got to do tonight.
All right. Thanks for coming, dude.
Out, buddy.
All right. Love all y'all. David, again, best of luck to everything. Yeah,
I've got
always.
beard envy. I'm going to have to try to catch up.
Hey, I'm a little jealous of the cop stash. It's okay. All right. Love all y'all.
Later.
Easy, buddy.
Good night.
Goodness sakes. All right, Jesse.
All right. Well, yeah,
Let's
we'll do
this thing. David, can you stick around, or do you need to go
I'll listen to some songs. I've got to go soon. Got to go pick up my daughters.
Yeah, we got one song and a spoken word piece. Let's we'll do Militia Intent first. It's actually in June.
We had someone in chat say that we should end every vigil with that song, and I agree.
What, Conviction or Militia Intent?
Militia Intent.
All right. Ready?
Yes.
Okay.
You can't keep giving us nothing and think we're bluffing about coming for your hands. Why play civil when you wouldn't listen to 50,000 dead? Now we know our mission, we form a militia, make Congress a prison. So why play civil when all these dead won't make you listen? What's more American than slaying your oppressors? What's more American than liberty or death first? God, I thought we were founded on abolishing the tyranny of those who would starve a village all to live empirically. And I regret that I have only one life to give for my cause now that I can see the cause so clearly. See, I want our leaders, regardless of party, to fear me, 'cause I will pick my targets and assassinate them lyrically. See, I will bring them out into the town square, hook them to the pillory and leave them there. And Hillary, I'll see you there. Oh, Hillary, I'll see you there. You can keep giving us nothing and think we're bluffing about coming for your heads. See, why play civil when you wouldn't listen to 100,000 dead? And now we know our mission, we form a militia, make Congress a prison. So why play civil when all these dead won't make you listen? Welcome to the fantasy of rhetoric. Welcome to the last of the free speech while we can get it. And I promise you can get it. All you corporate Democrats, second wave Confederates, GOP illusionists and neo-Nazi bureaucrats. And Stephen fucking Miller, I will see you in the aftermath. When all the laws are dust, there's just moral justice after that. And I would hunt you through the wasteland if it comes to that. So I could rub you in the dirt like a cheap human Brillo pad. I could sleep fine when our beds are burning, Stephen, but I'll turn around and run into the blaze to get my pillow back. Long as I can lay my head down, I can live with that. I could deal with a little ash. I could feel like a little of the old me burn with my bed and the rest of the past. The old world where we all lived and we can't get back. The old world where you didn't give and you'd still get back. Where you could rake in 12 billion and give none back. Those days are behind us, the virus will kill all of that. Your wealth is behind us and kindness is meant for the past. Our leaders would bind us and starve us and call it a fast. A sacrament meant for their God that they garnish in cash. They feed it the poor by the hundreds, that's all that it asks. Its hunger is legion and people in need are all it will have. So our only chance is to starve it and watch as it turns on them. You can keep giving us nothing and think we're bluffing about coming for your heads. Can keep giving us nothing and think we're bluffing about coming for your heads. That's militia.
I love that song so much. It's seriously like the best line ever.
It's my new favorite song.
You can't keep giving us nothing and think that we're bluffing about coming for your heads. That's the best fucking line, you guys.
My
That's
favorite
so
is you
great.
can use Stephen Miller's name interchangeably. Like you can put Mike Pompeo, Gina Schiff's.
Yeah, that's seriously one of the best lines. I'm not kidding, Jesse.
Yeah.
One of the best lines ever in any song in the history of ever. So good.
I had a long run. I thought it was too bluffy. I had a long running fantasy about standing on a sort of Aztec pyramid with a samurai sword and saying to my various enemies, right, I'm not going to kid you as long as you tell me the truth. And then before they even open their mouth, I've cut their head off and it's rolling down the pyramid. I said, I knew you were lying to me. So I love that line.
Oh,
yeah. It's great. I want it on a shirt. I want it on a throw pillow. So good.
Oh, bumper stickers at least.
Yes.
Yes. It's beautiful and fantastic playing.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Jesse's amazing. We've had him on Facts on the Ground many times. Have you been on the Vigil twice now, or is this the second time?
This is like the third time.
Third time. With it was you, me, Steve, and Krish.
Oh, okay.
That one time, yeah.
All my shows blur together, so I have
bet.
no idea what's happening.
So, yeah, this is an especially somber note to end on, but fitting since we're doing the Vigil. This is the piece I wrote for Julian. That again I owe to Misty, because had I not started following her and seeing her passion for Julian, I wouldn't have been as aware of really where we were at with the case and how little attention this had from people. And again, like you all said, all it takes is talking to someone for a minute, and it just, there's sometimes a little bit of propaganda to get through, but for the most part, people just aren't aware. That's really our biggest obstacle, is just awareness. So with that said, this is Conviction, Winter in Belmarsh. If you thought you saw your freedom, it was truly a mirage. Freedom's locked a cell away from Julian Assange. Our First Amendment rights are by his side behind bars, and the next voices silenced will be ours. Rest assured, democracy is rotting in the dark. Rest assured, we vilified dissenters, pushed out black renters, and tore down their housing just to build a little urban park. I tell you, old America really knows how to leave its mark, how to blaze a trail and leave 100 scars, how to rip your free speech out your throat, demonize the man who told you it was so, and leave him freezing in a cell in Belmarsh, perpetually awaiting extradition, thrown to the wolves of claustrophobia and malnutrition. And all that we can hope is that we catch Uncle Joe in a fleeting lucid moment of his flickering senile fascist mission. That maybe we could trick him into thinking Julian was some sweet blonde middle school Christian who got mixed up with a few bad apples, slapped with some charges, and thrown into prison. Joe would set him free without a moment's hesitation under one condition: that he could sniff her hair before she goes back to school and he goes back to business. But if Joe just had his shots, then we haven't got a chance of getting past his black and white vision, of getting past his gut reaction to appease all of his donors' sick requests and shape policy and law around corporate mandated decisions. And so really, all along, I think Julian was one man standing in a tempest with the fearlessness of true conviction. And if his is the only conviction we see, after he shed a light on this country's most poisonous schemes all come to fruition, and we all collectively stare at the ground because we felt like our hands were too tied beyond signing petitions, while he's tortured to death for attempting to warn and enlighten admittedly not quite the brightest of citizens. And half of this country just won't take the time to uncover the truth, or they just don't mind, so they're quick to dismiss it and say it's a difficult position. Well, then we're back to the comfort of centrist delusion. We're right back to sleep for the ignorant sheep who resisted themselves into one protracted contusion, twisting themselves into knots to correct all your stimulus check-based confusion, wrapping their necks round their backs as they justify overflow migrant detention or fracking pollution. Then Kamala laughs, and the camera pans down to her shoes. And that footage is 90% of your 6 o'clock news, except for a feel-good story about a man who at 95 years young just made Employee of the Month at Whole Foods. And the $50 gift card means this month he'll afford his prescriptions and meals, and he won't have to choose. This is the machine that a man named Julian Assange threw his body on the gears of for you. So to cry out for his freedom is the least that we can do. Now, best believe the feds will serve to muddy up the truth, but rest assured the temperature in Belmarsh is an icy 22, and Julian is shivering in a solitary room without a view. Rest assured Obama loves a whistleblower just about as much as he loves weddings where he doesn't get to detonate the groom. Rest assured Obama bought the plot where all our First Amendment rights are gonna rot and demanded that they carve his smiling likeness on the tomb. So when you come to pay respects to your free speech rights and a somber feeling hits you and you look up to the sky, the answer will be staring you right in the eyes to the questions of why and of who. So if you thought you saw your freedom, then they wanted you to. Human rights are mutable, and Julian is proof. Our First Amendment rights are stuck in solitary too, and the next voice silent might be you.
Wow. Can you do my speech tomorrow? Very good. Very good.
Thank you.
Oh,
I'm inspired.
Thank you.
oh, it's so good. Like it gives me goosebumps. It's so good. And it's what's great about it is that it doesn't just focus on Julian. Like you hit on so many of the issues that Julian was key in exposing. But it's the whole song is not just about what's happening to Julian or First Amendment. It's about,
it connects to everything. It
yes.
really does. If there's anything you
about
care about,
gentrification.
again, that you want to talk
Gentrification.
about
Yeah.
and you can't, you know, that's
Yeah.
it all comes back to that. Yeah.
Yes. It's so
a
good.
90-year-old guy working in Whole Foods. It's great. That's
Yes.
really you can't
You mentioned that. You mentioned gentrification. You mentioned, you know, the war, like all of it.
And
everything.
you know, the 90-year-old man line, you know, originally that was just kind of based off of some of the kind of poverty porn that we see, you know, these feel-good stories. They're supposed to be about someone working 3 jobs or whatever. But I got off of work recently. It was about 4 p.m. and I stopped at a gas station, and there was a man working there who was well over retirement age, and he was working by himself. And he apologized for me having to wait a minute. I said, "It's, you know, obviously you're doing this solo." And he said, "Yeah, I was supposed to have 2 other people." He said, "I've been here since 3 this morning by myself." And he said, "They just called and told me no one was coming in. They want me to stay until 10, but I have to be back in at 3. You know, and like, again, here you're already at the 13-hour mark, and they want you to work and then get 3 hours of sleep and then come in and do it again. And you should be, you know, several years into your retirement. It's
you should be chilling, you know? By a pool with like a
Seriously,
drink with an umbrella in it. You know what I mean? Like you should just be chilling.
Reality, and that's you're right. That's well, it's over and above Julian Assange, but I mean, he was really alerting us to the fact that the whole society is rotten.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
And the American dream is kind of a lie, and it's a shame in Australia. It's obviously, I think it's worse there because it's so much bigger country.
Yeah.
In the same way that you're a more talented singer than you would ever find in Australia, but you've got this big country where you get some terrible things going on.
Yeah.
You know, the idea that there's no safety net at all.
Yeah.
And there's no minimum wage, and there's no and it's, you know, and they've indoctrinated people about hard work. And what that can really mean is it's like the Dickensian time. It's a poorhouse where some 9-year-old's trying to survive, and he's told that that's actually kind of some sort of a good thing, or it's a fair thing.
Yeah. Yep.
Y'all, do you remember
and
a long
the
time
owner
ago?
of the business is probably living in some huge, you know, mansion somewhere. You know?
Yeah. Well, do you guys remember the George W. Bush thing? When he was like, some lady was like, "I'm working 3 jobs," and he's like, "Oh, you should be so proud of yourself. That's uniquely American." No, that's disgusting. Yes, it is uniquely American, but that's disgusting. The fact that he's like proud that it's uniquely American, that people have to work 3 jobs to survive. Really, that's the society we want. It's so gross. Ugh. It's so frustrating too, because people, again, like I said earlier, we've convinced ourselves that this is just the best we can do.
They're private space programs, you know.
Exactly.
Penis spaceships, you know. What? Oh.
He definitely didn't bounce that one off marketing.
Or did he?
Exactly.
Like,
and everyone's just too afraid to say anything. They're like, you know what? That looks fantastic, honestly.
Yeah, he does have
it reminds us of you so much. It's just
true, though. Real talk. Fuck Jeff Bezos. I'll say it. Yeah, fuck that guy. Yeah, but it is really frustrating though to see just the obviousnness of all of this, but yet it's not.
And that's exactly we've hit this point where they. Sorry.
No, you go. I just wanted to compliment you to say it's great. You're the musician for the partisan band, you know.
And he's so honest. I'm gonna gush about Jesse Jett for a minute, so just excuse me. But he doesn't have a genre. Like he's able to go all over the place and do different things, spoken word, and like some he does like some 50s stuff and like just like all over the place. You know what I mean? Like I'm waiting for like the death metal, 50s bebop. Like, I'm like this whole weird collaboration. I'm waiting. It's coming. You know what I mean?
Are you Joan Jett's son? Joan Jett. Is that where it
Yeah, I'll send you his Bandcamp link, David, so you can check it out.
I love it. I love it.
I
I
would
think
love
that's one of the I don't know if you see the Netflix show Money Heist about the big bank robbery, which is quite good. And it turns out they're doing it. They're really actually kind of activists, or at least the ringleaders. But one of the great moments is that they play that sort of partisan song from the Second World War that they used to sing up in the mountains, probably going to their deaths. But it's as kind of an upbeat song, like, here we go, kiss you goodbye, baby. I'm off to fight the Nazis. Anyway, the smile on their face, and it's a great. Well, you need that. You need some sort of a partisan. We need an act. You'll have to write us a song. We can all sing together.
Yes.
Militia very nice.
Yep. Exactly. The afterlife. We love it. And we need to have a chorus where we can all join in. Even us.
Yes. Seriously, the best line ever. I love it.
So,
that just made my day.
Yeah, that's your
the soundtrack of the revolution.
For the week is you have to write us a partisan song that we can all join in.
I sure will. I absolutely will.
Yeah. He's usually constantly writing or recording or whatever. Like multiple projects at one time, sometimes.
Too many.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, and by the way, guys, I forgot. I'm gonna drop the piece that I talked about, Caitlin Johnstone piece, the wizard. I'm gonna drop that in chat right now. So if you guys, I'm not kidding, highly, you must check it out.
Yep.
You must check it out. It is beautiful.
Did we show the GoFundMe for Daniel's billboard yet?
I didn't show it, but I did drop it in the chat. I can drop it again.
Yeah, if you could, because he just got them up officially.
Yeah.
So I'm super excited about that. So congratulations, Daniel. I think
Yay, Daniel.
Yeah, that's awesome. It really is.
If other people decide to start theirs, let us know. We'll circulate.
I got, life got,
everything.
Life. Yeah. Life got the best of me for a little while.
That is one thing, one of the silver lining kind of things that's come out of the last year or so is that you don't have to give people a lot of explanation. If something has come up, you literally just go life or just gesture around, and same, like there are people that I've worked with that have had to take, a couple days mentally that have wake up and like, I can't. And they call and we're like, we get it. Obviously take your time, they don't ask, well, what is it? What's bothering, like, what else? What do you don't need an explanation anymore,
You're right. I had that recently too. I said to someone, we had a loose arrangement to cut a video and I blew it off and whatever. And then I said, look, I wasn't feeling up to it last week. And they were like, oh, thank God, neither was I. I've been out of action for 2 weeks and I'm really glad you didn't call me.
Yeah.
It's people are much posted about it. That is one good silver lining. People are
exactly.
We often we're not overwhelmed, and that's okay. We can we'll have to wait.
Everybody gets overwhelmed sometimes. It doesn't matter how good you have it. It doesn't matter. Like if you're involved in, especially if you're involved in activism in any way, there are times where you just don't know why you're doing it. You have no idea why you're doing it. It's brutal. I mean, I don't mean to be like, oh, woe is me, because it's,
but no, it's absolutely taxing
it can
emotionally
be
taxing to stay in that. Yeah.
Well, and I mean,
this is the point when we crack out Jesse's new anthem and we say, we love it.
I listen to Militia Intent all the time when I feel down. Like when
that's what I've said too.
In the car as I drive into work.
Yeah,
it's fun.
I listen to it while I clean because it makes me like angry enough to like want to clean or whatever.
And that's one thing I've said before is that I'm not necessarily trying to make a song that's going to change someone's mind that doesn't agree with me. It's to keep someone engaged that does. That we need stuff to remind us why we care, and why it's important.
We're going to battle.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's the attitude we have. Exactly. We've got to give up. My experience, much as we all hate to, people don't change teams. People don't change their opinions.
Yeah.
But well, they might, but not by you talking to them. But if we have a certain amount of dignity and we have a certain style that people like, that maybe that does more to make people want to join your team than actually any kind of argument.
Yeah.
So we have to become the partisans, and a little bit of music is good.
A lot of bit of music is good.
Yeah.
I love music. Music has literally been my therapy for my entire life.
Too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Usually techno, but now Jesse's my favorite.
I sent you his Bandcamp link, David. I sent you his Bandcamp link on Twitter. Yeah,
We can do both. I can make techno remixes of any of these songs for you.
Yeah, you should do that. You should.
We're making a little bit of a documentary too, so about my life, and so you can do the soundtrack.
You say the word. Honestly, if you need a song, however simple, however elaborate, I'd be happy to do it.
That'd be good. Because
that's amazing. That would be amazing.
That would make me happy, and that would be good for you.
Yes.
You just made my day.
You both just made my day. That just made me so happy.
I've already shot it, so they're just in the editing. So
see, more good stuff coming out.
Yep. Awesome.
Like I hate that there needs to be a movie made about you and what you're going through, but
it's just like your thing. It's kind of bittersweet. I talk about drinking, drugs, and ups and downs, and suicides, and so your kind of music it's good. It's dark and hopeful at the same time, kind of thing.
Yes.
God, thank you. Seriously, thank you so much.
No, it's so lucky. Hey, Misty, you're the wizard.
Right?
Oh my God, that just gave me goosebumps, but that's ridiculous. Like no comparison to Julian Assange at all.
Well, maybe you're just a witch. I can't tell these days.
Should I change the show name to Witch?
That would be fun.
I should have done that for Halloween.
Next year.
Do that?
Yep.
I'm so dumb. Oh, that would have been great.
I'm gonna have to go and pick up my little.
Okay, thank you for coming, David. It's always amazing to talk to you.
Seriously.
Good to see you.
Jesse.
Yeah, absolutely.
Make ourselves. You're going to write the new Philadelphia.
Yes.
There we go.
I love that.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thank you, David. See ya.
Thank you. Good to meet you.
I never know how to turn this thing off, so I'm just.
I can. Hold on. I can.
Exit stage right.
Okay, so I just also dropped his link again for his defense fund. People have been great about donating to him, so please continue doing that. And if you aren't familiar with his case, we should do like a deep dive into his case. One day. I know that we've done like kind of a deep dive-ish.
It would be cool to do like a documentary format dive.
Like maybe when his documentary comes out, we can do like a viewing party or something on a Discord server or something, and then we can talk about it on a Vigil too, and have him on to talk about. That would be cool. I would love to do that.
Yeah. Well, I would like to highlight the activism that he's done, because not only is he facing all of this court stuff, he himself goes out and gives speeches and helps.
Yes, and he always talks. He talks more about other people than he does himself. Like he regularly talks more about Julian than he does himself.
See, that's why it's good that there's so many people like that right now, and that's why it's
the same way with Craig Murray. Craig Murray was the same way too. Yeah. Yes, I love seeing that level of solidarity. I love seeing John Kiriakou out, speaking in defense of all, like every whistle, like all of that. We need that. Like we need. Well, it's not even just that. Like we don't even just need them supporting each other. We need to support them. Like it's so frustrating to me that the only person who ever saw the inside of a courtroom for exposing the torture program was the guy who exposed the torture program, not the people who ran the torture program. The guy who exposed it, the only people, like the literal war crimes were exposed, and the only people who ever saw the inside of a courtroom were the whistleblower and the publisher. Like what kind of weird ass society do we live in where that's an acceptable thing, where that's
if his is the only conviction we see?
Yes, exactly. Exactly. It's so frustrating. It's so bass backwards. Like I don't understand. Humanity fucked up. Like we fucked it up, you guys, really bad. Like and I'm an atheist, but like we have like this really cool, weird, random opportunity to exist, and we're fucking it up. Hardcore. It's really painful, honestly. It's really painful because it seems so obvious, and like we teach our kids, like, use your words and don't hate your friends, and then the people in charge of everything blow shit up for profit. That doesn't make any sense. Like we don't make any sense at all. We elevate people like psychopaths, legitimate psychopaths. George W. Bush is he's a war criminal of the highest order, and he like gets to go on Ellen and dance, and like everybody talks about how cute he is when he's like handing out candy at funerals, and he paints, and isn't that really novel? And fuck George W. Bush. Are you joking me? Dude should be in the Hague. Julian Assange should be free, and George W. Bush should be in the Hague. Period. End of story. And it's weird to me that we have that so confused. Sorry, I'm very ranty again.
It is amazing what like the public photo of him and Michelle Obama hugging all of a sudden everyone was just like, you know what, maybe he's not so bad after.
Right? And
like,
that's gonna be Trump. That's gonna be Trump.
Oh, for
Trump
sure.
will be rehabilitated. I'm telling you, Trump will be rehabilitated. People will be like, oh, wasn't he such a who? You know.
No, for sure. When Donald Trump dies, it's gonna be like, you know, a larger than life president who didn't play by the rules and
Yes.
Yep.
God damn it. I know we say it too much too often, but we live in a cartoon. God damn. It really is frustrating.
I have to go ahead and say now, even though I haven't really finished the song yet, but even though one theme I've always hated in a song is if it uses any sort of like carnival or kind of sideshow trope, it has always bothered, it's always irked me. If like a song or a record starts off with like a ladies and gentlemen, I'm just like, oh god damn it. That said, I did this very carnival kind of melody and recorded something. I was like, you know what, I have to do a song called Shit Show that literally just lists off some of those ridiculous moments, like Kamala Harris having Bill Clinton come talk about empowering young women, and list them off like a circus sideshow, you know?
Dude, you talk
here's
about
all the ridiculous things you can witness.
You talk
in this
about
country.
Kamala Harris, the camera pans down to her shoes, and that's 90% of your 6 o'clock news. Like you're right. There's so many these, and it is a circus
really is.
Sideshow. I've said that on Twitter before.
Yeah.
It is a circus sideshow. Like the
So,
Marjorie
like-
Taylor Greene versus AOC circus sideshow. It means absolutely nothing. It's a ridiculous. It's such a distraction. It is such a distraction. Oh, but
And
yeah,
what's
there's a
funny
lot
is
of that.
People don't have the mental capacity to hate a whole bunch of characters at once. So it's like once the old people are gone, like if you say John Boehner right now, people's eyes glaze over. They're like, I don't remember who that is,
Right.
you know. But they hated his guts 10 years ago. Like it's just so funny.
I still hate his guts. I mean,
But again, he got to have his cool whatever. GQ did some story on him, and it's like he's smoking 4 packs a day now, and he doesn't give a fuck about your rules.
Dude, he's
and
in
it's
the
like trying to
he's in
make
the
him seem
weed
like
business.
he's super cool or
He's
something.
in
like
the weed business.
oh,
this is a guy who fought against legalization
Yep.
tooth and nail, like total douche canoe about it. And he is in the weed business.
And that's,
the
I guess,
hypocrisy.
what's so infuriating is that they are at this point now where they've stopped being coy and they're being really blatant and like shoving our faces in stuff. And it's just to remind us, like, hey, you're really fucking powerless, aren't you? How does that feel? You know, it's seriously, it's just
Mainstream media
you know.
hires spooks. Legitimate spooks to like be paid contributors on their news networks. And that's just, we're just like, okay, that's normal. That's not fucking normal. That's, well, I mean, it is normal because that is the way that we live, but that's not a good plan. That is not a good plan. How we manage to allow that to happen and give that a level of power to the intelligence agencies to control the narrative almost entirely. Christ on a cracker, that's bad.
If you look at even like the alternative, right? I don't want to call it alternative, but like the supposedly like hated right-wing outlets, like you have fucking Glenn Beck bringing on Mike Pompeo to talk about the imprisonment of Julian Assange, and he's like, Mike Pompeo's like, yeah, like that's basically how the fuck it happened, but like it's nobody's goddamn business.
Yeah, and then threatened the people who talked. Was like those people should, you know, face
then,
charges or whatever.
And then Glenn Beck's supposed to be like this, like esteemed fucking fighting the power, according to their
and he
narrative.
does nothing, says nothing.
Right.
Oh, couple of douches, seriously. And it's you know what's they pretend to hate each other. Like all these people pretend to hate each other. They pretend to be fighting, and they don't hate each other. They work together. I'm not saying that they're all like best buds, but I all the time I say it's like high school, but with psychopaths. And so yes, there are cliques, but for the most part, they're all on the same team. They all go to the same high school. You know, they're all cheering for the same team at the football game. You know what I'm saying? Like they're all working towards the same agenda. The only thing that changes is the rhetoric and the demographic who they pander to. That's it. That's the only they're owned and operated by the exact same people. The exact same people. Oh. So Alex Saab, thank you. Alex Saab, thank you, Jade. Yes, Alex Saab, free Alex Saab. Yes. Please do that.
It is a secular talk clip, but it's one of the only ones you can find on the internet with it. So bear with it. It is Kyle Kulinski, but I got two things before we close, like not necessarily news stuff, but I have like 2 or 3 slides about like basically where we're at right now as far as like the assurances go, because that's something that I don't think we've really talked about a whole lot. You want to run through those real quick? Can we do those?
Yeah. I don't know why you're asking permission.
I don't know.
I'm not the boss of you, dude.
I don't know.
Weirdo.
Yeah, I mean, you're wearing a Wu-Tang shirt. You just kind of that's seniority. You just,
fair enough.
That's fair.
That's fair.
You are
actually,
the wizard.
It
David,
asserts you into a leadership role.
Dude, David McBride called me the wizard. I was like, what? And I know it's not true. Like, it's not at all true. But like, you know, when David McBride says you're the wizard, I mean, I was like, oh, okay. I'm not that cool, David. I did bring David and Jesse together, though.
I know.
Jesse,
I was not expecting.
Jesse,
I was not expecting
Jesse,
that. That was so exciting,
dude.
That is exciting.
That's massive. That's huge.
Especially right on the heels of Tara Reid releasing her podcast. Like, it was all I could do as soon as I got to do those songs for her to not go on Twitter.
Don't forget,
and tell the
I need
world,
something for bitch and I need something for fat,
yes,
Sam.
Yes,
do it
absolutely.
before you're too famous to remember me.
But dude, Tara was amazing because she
is amazing. I love her.
She reached out to me and asked if I would be interested in doing a piece of music for her show. And I said, well, you know, what did you have in mind? And I kind of thought she would want something kind of in the vein of what I usually do. And she sent me a few pieces of music that were very like Renaissance, moody Renaissance, kind of Celtic vibes. It was just really a super cool direction to go in. And all of a sudden I was like, oh, I get to actually like write a piece of music, you know? And so I told her, I was like, I'll come up with some stuff and send it to you. And just, if I'm in the right direction, tell me, you know, and I will make however many things you want until you're happy with it. And the first 2 pieces I sent her, she was like, I want to use both of these as like an intro and outro. And I was like, oh, we're done? That's it? Oh, well, I guess we're done.
I love her. I'm going to be on her podcast next week. I don't know when it's going to.
Nice.
That's awesome.
I don't know. What's the word? I don't know when it'll be published.
Airing.
Premiere. Yeah. Thank you. See,
yeah.
I'm telling you guys, this is burnout. I lose words. It's.
I'm
really
dead.
It's okay. Talking is my fantastic.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm gonna be on Tara's show. I think we are recording next Thursday. I don't know when it'll come out or whatever the word is I'm looking for. But yeah, I'm super excited. Excited. I love her. I really do. I love her. She's great.
And fun little fact, the piece of music I use for the closing on her show is actually the same weird note progression that I use on acoustic for the song Read Between the Lines that I did about her. I wanted to try to use that same key and play around with that same kind of ascending note thing for one of her pieces. So it's just a fun little through lines between the two. So
that is pretty cool.
Just fun fact.
Fun fact. I adore her, though. I really do. I am super excited that she decided to start a show. She had Zinka on the other day, Anthony Zinkas, who I adore as well.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a killer way to start.
Yeah, she's great. He's great too. I love him.
Yep.
So somebody asked in the chat what it's called. It's called The Politics of Survival. I looked it up to make sure I was right, but it is. It is The Politics of Survival with Tara Reid. It looks like it's on Spotify. And probably wherever you can get podcasts. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what all the platforms are, but it's for sure on Spotify. That's the link I'm looking at now. But probably I would say iTunes. Maybe. I don't know. I should find out for sure, and we can link to all of the places that it is. Somebody asked if she's on YouTube. I don't know. I honestly don't know.
I don't think so. I've never seen her post any YouTube stuff.
It just started, so maybe, but I don't think so. I do not think
and
so.
Honestly, with what we've seen from YouTube right now, if I didn't already have a channel, I wouldn't be starting one. Like,
yeah, no, definitely not.
You still should if you're determined, but it's not fun.
Yeah.
I'll exploit this platform for as long as I can.
Real quick before we do these slides, shout out to the KRTD crew.
Yeah.
Because Shane and all them put the protest together. They literally they pulled out the weather weapons and hit New York with a nor'easter the day that we were going to have our protest. It was like a fucking hurricane in New York City. So the following Tuesday, this past Tuesday, they went back out there and so the website I found that had the addresses listed, it was the wrong address in New York. Twitter had bought the building from them. So their protest originally started outside of Twitter, and then they migrated outside of the Netflix building. And the Netflix people like freaked out and called the police on them. And then, which I think is like fucking badass. And they didn't leave, and the police showed up and like were like, no, they're cool. Like, you're good. So fucking huge props to those people. Badasses out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Word, homie.
And I apologize. I thought I had the right address from everything I could tell. If you look it up on Google, it even shows like the Netflix building and shit. They're cheating. It's fucked up.
I don't even know what that means, Andrew.
But let's do these slides, and then I wanted to end, if we could, with the Stefania Maruzzi's piece from the Tribunal.
Oh, yeah. I am starting to hear herds of elephants upstairs. They've been fucking amazing. Almost 2 hours, and I haven't really heard them until just now. I'm starting to hear the footsteps. So I'm just giving you a heads up.
No, you're good.
Shrieking will be soon.
So this is a piece put together by Kevin Gastola and Muhammad. I almost called him the good Muhammad.
You put good Kevin.
You
put good Kevin. Andrew, I love that.
So this talks specifically about the assurances, about what the U.S. government was trying to offer the British courts as what they wouldn't do, which is all lies. Like every assurance they've ever made has been essentially thrown out. But the assurances now offered are as follows. The U.S. government will not designate Assange for special administrative measures. The U.S. government will not send Assange to ADX Florence, the Supermax prison in Colorado, if he's convicted. Assange will receive clinical and psychological treatment as is recommended by the prison clinic. And if convicted, the U.S. government will allow Assange to apply for a prisoner transfer to serve his sentence in Australia. Both of the assurances involving SAM and ADX contain an important stipulation. The U.S. government retains the power to designate Assange for either SAMS or ADX Florence if he commits any future acts that meets the test for such designation. For example, if the officials deemed they must prevent a breach of national security. Altogether, the assurances from the United States government turn on the trustworthiness of them. The defense would start from the basis that they were offered in good faith, but if the High Court allows them, Assange's attorneys would like to hold a hearing where they can call witnesses to submit evidence in order to determine the reliability of these assurances. The defense noted that in the submissions to the High Court, one agency with the power to recommend SAMS is the Attorney General on the basis of some unspecified act they perceive Mr. Assange as committing is the CIA, the very same agency whose criminal acts Mr. Assange has sought to expose and who are under an active investigation in Spain for plotting to kill him. It is revealed the legal significance of CIA Director Mike Pompeo's redefining WikiLeaks as a non-state hostile intelligence agency. In the first speech he gave the agency's director, as the agency's director in April 2017, Pompeo became obsessed with Assange and WikiLeaks after the publication of the Vault 7 materials, which exposed the CIA's cyber warfare capabilities. Morris, Assange's partner, provided a statement in support of Julian's bail application on the basis of having a partner in a committed relationship with Mr. Assange, who is also a mother of his two children, who helped reassure the court that he would abide by bail conditions. Yet Lewis mocked the idea that Morris and their two children's safety was of any real concern. Precisely because she opened up her identity to potentially being discovered by supporting the bail for Assange, which was literally a fucking court order. Lewis contended Assange had actually informed Nigel Blackwood of his relationship with Morris because he knew the information would become public anyways due to the bail application, something which was not guaranteed, since they sought the anonymity in order to protect her privacy. These remarks ignored the obvious point that Assange and his family were engaged in balancing their desire to protect their privacy and the safety of their safety with the understandable objective of freeing Julian from what at the time was 7+ years of confinement. In fact, Lewis told the court when Miss Morris pursued the anonymity order anonymity order that the prosecution was neutral and took no position on whether it should be granted.
It's a bunch of bullshit is what that is.
It is, because the whole idea of we will or won't keep him in these conditions, he may or may not be able to serve a sentence in this country. Like, he shouldn't be in jail. Like, that is
at all.
Mhm.
That's what's
There's
so
no crime
annoying
that
to me right now is we're having conversations about how he's going to be punished, where he'll be punished, how he'll be
Mhm.
treated. He shouldn't even be in jail. What we shouldn't be having conversations about like how long he'll be in prison or where he gets to serve his prison term or how he'll be treated when he's there. He shouldn't like Kevin said, we shouldn't even be here. We shouldn't even be here. We shouldn't even be here.
As a remand prisoner, he was taken into custody on like the fake bail skipping charges that I'll play the Stefania Maruzzi thing. It's like 4 minutes.
And they stripped him of his Ecuadorian citizenship without due process in order to perform that act. There's nothing about this case that makes any sense, that's just in any way. His human rights have been violated numerous times. He was spied on. His conversations with his legal team were spied on in the Ecuadorian embassy. He was having meetings in the ladies' bathroom, and it turns out they had microphones in there too. That alone should have this case completely thrown out the window and set on fire. They have nothing. The fact that it's a political persecution, that's very clear. It's obvious. I don't know how anybody can make an argument that the Julian Assange case is not a political case. Of course it is. Are you joking? Like, there are so many reasons why this case we shouldn't even be having conversations about where he's going to jail at all, ever. And it's weird. Again, it's weird. We live in the upside down where that's the conversation we're having. Instead of this dude should be released immediately and then compensated for the bullshit he's had to go through for over a decade. Sorry. Again, very ranty. Can't help it.
Stefania Maruzzi piece. Can I play it?
Why do you keep asking permission,
I don't
sir?
know. I don't know. Because I don't have the buttons.
Is it because I'm ranty and you're afraid of me?
Yes, you are the scary witch.
I can't believe he called me a witch. That's pretty damn funny. I'm not even
You
kidding.
should have done witch with Comrade Misty.
I'm so mad. Honestly, I'm really angry that I did not do that. Because we did a Halloween episode. We did Bitch About the Witch, and we did like a March for Medicare for All episode where we talked about how awful Nancy Pelosi is. But I could have just done witch with Comrade Misty. That would have been fun. And then I could have dressed as a witch, and it would have been great. Next year, you guys, if it's still a thing, next year, we'll do that. We will do that. Okay, are you ready? Are we ready?
I think so.
Okay.
I'm ready. So this is from the Belmarsh Tribunal that took place. I've been trying to close the shows with these just because they were really, really good. Let me get my volume right.
And the next speaker, an investigative journalist, one of the best investigative journalists today, Stefania Maurizi from Italy, was also spied on. Her phones were opened, her computers were opened, people were surveilled, and probably this is not finished yet. But Stefania will speak about another perspective of Julian Assange's case, and thanks a lot for joining us today.
So good afternoon, and I'm honored to be here at the Belmarsh Tribunal. Let me introduce myself. I'm an Italian investigative journalist who has spent over a decade working on all WikiLeaks secret documents. I have done this hard work for my newspaper, initially the Italian leading news magazine L'Espresso, and the Italian daily La Repubblica, and currently for the major Italian daily Il Fatto Quotidiano. It was only thanks to Julian Assange and the WikiLeaks journalists and their sources, especially Chelsea Manning, that I have been able to reveal crucial information in the public interest, such as war crimes in Afghanistan, in Iraq, tortures in Guantanamo, from Iraq to Guantanamo, extrajudicial killings by drones, political pressures to grant impunity to state criminals involved in the CIA extraordinary rendition program. And it was only thanks to Julian Assange that I was able to reveal how my country, Italy, has become the launching pad for US wars, from Iraq to the secret drone war. I have published thousands of investigations and articles based on such revelation, but while I have been able to to do this journalistic work completely safely. I was never arrested. I was never questioned. Julian Assange has been destroyed. Let me use this strong word. He has been destroyed. For me, it has been very, very sad to witness how he has been destroyed, how he has been crushed, destroyed. And the way he has been treated should make you very, very angry. It's a massive scandal. It's not an exaggeration to call it a massive scandal. I'm here to call out to the US authorities, the UK authorities, the Swedish authorities, the Australian authorities, and the Ecuadorian authorities under Lenin Moreno for such massive scandal. I have spent the last 6 years fighting court to access the full documentation on the case under the Freedom of Information laws. I have done this because I think it's crucial to get the facts, to reconstruct the facts rigorously, to have solid evidence. I have been fighting in the United States, in the United Kingdom, in Sweden, and in Australia. I'm represented by 7 lawyers. I'm doing this work completely alone, just because I don't want these people to win. I want to discover what they have done. I want to unearth evidence of their abusive, horrific treatment of Julian Assange, and I want facts. 4 powerful nations are using all their legal resources to deny a journalist access to the documentation on the case. It means that this documentation is something like dynamite. Had it been bureaucratic correspondence, they would have never spent the last 6 years fighting against my attempts to access it. But in any case, even if I experienced such rubber wall, thanks to this 6 years litigation in US, UK, Sweden, Australia, I was able to obtain some really important documents, very, very few, but indeed very relevant, because they provide indisputable evidence that it was the UK authorities, the UK Crown Prosecution Service, then headed by Sir Keir Starmer, which contributed to create the legal and diplomatic quagmire which has kept Julian Assange arbitrarily detained since 2010 and finally resulted in his arrest and in his detention in Belmarsh. And it was the Crown Prosecution Service which was against the Swedish prosecutors dropping the case in 2013 when they were considering doing so. Why did the Crown Prosecution Service behave like this? Why did they write to the Swedish prosecutors, "Don't you get cold feet"? I'm quoting from official documents. No one can dispute these official documents because they have been provided to me after years of litigation by the UK authorities and other authorities involved in this case. And why did the Crown Prosecution Service write to the Swedish counterpart, "Please do not think that the case is being dealt with as just another extradition request"? When I try to dig into these facts and try to understand why the Crown Prosecution Service had behaved like this, the Crown Prosecution Service gave me a pretty incredible answer. They said they had destroyed the documents about this case. And even if the case was still ongoing, highly controversial and very high profile, it's incredible to me that they destroyed such documents. And it's even more incredible that they don't even know what the document contained. They claim so. They say that they don't know what the document contained. And I have been fighting years trying to discover why they destroyed this document and what the document contained. You have to realize that the Crown Prosecution Service, which was in charge of this attempt to extradite Julian Assange to Sweden, is the very same agency in charge of the extradition to the US. The very, very same agency. The US is acting through the Crown Prosecution Service. And the Crown Prosecution Service has such a record. It's the agency which did this during the Swedish case. It's the agency which destroyed the documents, though the case was still ongoing. It's the agency which claimed they don't even know what they destroyed. So I wonder whether during our litigation, the Crown Prosecution Service made no mystery that they are dealing with this extradition, the extradition of a publisher who revealed war crime, as if they are extraditing a criminal like any other, a drug dealer or perhaps a mafia killer. So it's time to demand transparency and accountability from the Crown Prosecution Service in the handling of the Julian Assange case from the very beginning. And it's time for the journalists, activists, and the public opinion to call out the US and the UK authorities, especially the judicial authorities, for this monstrous injustice. Free Julian Assange, drop the charges, jail the war criminals.
She's such a badass.
That's awesome.
Oh, I can't wait for her book. Her book's out right now in Italian. If you speak Italian, can read Italian, do please order it. And then
we need a translator for all.
I know.
These
well, no, I know, but it's going to be out in English soon, but probably not for a while because it does take a while once a book is released to get it translated. It's like Nils Melzer's book is in German right now, but we don't have it in English. So
it's supposed to be coming soon, I think.
Yeah, it's his is. I think his it's like 9 months or a year after the original came out. That it'll be translated into English. So that's not too bad. But Stefania Maruzzi, I think it might be next year too. Like probably not early next year. I think Nils Melzer's is supposed to be February. That the English version is out. So I don't know. We'll see. Again, more great content.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the word I'm looking for, but
things.
Yeah, things.
No,
I don't know.
words.
I don't know. Whatever. The word I'm looking for. You fill in the blanks because I'm out of words. Words are hard. Anyways, okay, can we wrap it up? Because I'm tired.
We can.
Man, thank you guys so much. Seriously, I'm so glad I got to do this tonight. This was a blast.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, you're always welcome on any of my shows. Whenever you want to come on.
Making stuff like this happens fun.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like I was not expecting like a mini concert and like you getting to do David McBride's soundtrack.
Yeah.
And
Oh my God. Yeah. No, I'm freaking out.
Vigils aren't often fun, and we did talk about some really dark stuff tonight.
Yeah.
But that was kind of fun.
Yep. Dude, shout out to David's laugh. David McBride's laugh is exactly what I needed today.
Him. I'm not even kidding you.
I love people that laugh before the thing that's going to make them laugh. That it gets you ready for it. It's so great.
Yeah. No, I adore him. He's fan-fucking-tastic.
Yeah.
Seriously. Support him however you can. I'll post the link again to his fundraiser. God damn it, you guys. In the chat. Go if you can afford it. If you have a few bucks that you can pitch in, do so. If you can't, just share the link. Sharing the link helps so much. You guys have no idea how just sharing something
Magnus's t-shirt shop too.
Yeah.
I don't remember which one's releasing his
Wait, he has a t-shirt shop?
Yeah, you didn't know that?
No.
My face is on a t-shirt.
Oh, Magnus's. Okay, I thought you were talking about David McBride. I'm
no.
Dude, I need a David McBride shirt. Are you kidding me? Yeah, I ordered. Magnus is having trouble though with that, so we need.
I don't think Teespring's working yet, but Wix is working.
Well, and PayPal, because PayPal was fucked up because that's what happened with mine. Like we had like a whole issue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, his Teespring is still fucked up, but his personal Wix site is working.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, I asked him about it earlier.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Anyways, okay. Jesse, do you want to tell everybody where they can find you, what you have coming up, whatever?
Twitter, I'm Jesse_Jett. Right now, I'm getting ready to put out the spoken word album finally. Cover art for that kind of got stuck in limbo, and I've been left to do it myself. I am not artistically talented enough to design the cover I have in mind for this. Yeah. I don't want to. I can't afford.
But people will do it. No, but people will help. I mean,
Yeah, but I hate asking someone to. I know what it's like to be like, hey, do you want to do this? And I can't afford to. So.
Yeah, I get that.
So I'm in the process of making a cover for Coming of Spring, and that will be out really anytime now. I'm starting to record for the acoustic versions of stuff from The Virus as well as Inauguration Gift. That will probably just be called Variant, and that'll just be probably a dozen songs or so between both things that will be acoustic takes. And then it's just a whole bunch of weird little projects from here on out. Doing a kind of a couple follow-ups from the 50s doo-wop project, one of which I want to do kind of an old school kind of Western feel to it, but still very much like, someone that's going around and taking out all the filthy low-down politicians and landlords and shit. Just, subject matter that's really dear to our hearts. You got fruit flies? There's something?
No, there is a fly. There's a fly. It's driving me insane. Sorry, I realize I look like a batshit crazy lady. And you know what's great? I have a ton of fucking cats, you guys. There shouldn't be flies in my house, right? Right? There should not be flies. My cats are fired. They're fired.
My cat will not finish the fly off. It's like he doesn't want it to stop moving, so he'll just wait, and then if it moves again, he's like, okay, we'll keep going. But
and then
if
it
stops,
inevitably flies away, and then you didn't do your job.
Yep.
You had one job. You didn't do your job.
But yeah, I appreciate you guys having me on because.
Yeah, Jesse. Anytime you want to come on, dude. Seriously, anytime you want to come on. That's real talk.
Thank you.
So, anyways, I'm Misty. I'm addicted to shirts and cats. Let's see. Okay, so because I am now a tech genius, and I have internet that's decent, Facts on the Ground is going to start live streaming, which we are going to be kicking off on Sunday at noon Eastern with Vanessa Beeley. I'm really excited. We're going to talk about the newest piece. She's doing like a breakdown of the history of the bullshittery that we've put on to Syria. So I'm really excited about that. And then I think we have somebody else on Monday, but I'm forgetting now who, because I'm forgetting things. So I'm really excited that we're going to be able to start live streaming, which, we've been wanting to do for a long time.
Yeah.
And then obviously I have, we've talked about it multiple times tonight. I have Bitch with Comrade Misty on Wednesday at 7. And this week, who do I have this week? Holy balls, you guys. I have Edwin from March for Medicare for All and potentially Sharif Snuggs from March for Medicare for All. They're going to come on and talk. They have they're getting ready to go protest Pfizer in New York City. So they're coming on to talk about those actions and then just bitch about the state of healthcare in this country and how garbage it is. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Obviously support David McBride if you can. Support all of them. Daniel Hale, Julian Assange, all of them, every one of them, however you can, whether it's just being vocally supportive of them, sharing information about what they're going through or supporting them financially, whatever it is. I'm getting preachy again, but we need to stand, we have to start standing with our truth tellers. It's a problem. We need to fix it. Okay, done now.
My name's Andrew Smith. You can find me on Twitter at Andrew Zigman. I just appreciate everybody hanging out. This was a pretty cool show. I'm really glad that David McBride was able to join us because if you've been following him on Twitter, life is always hard, and he shared some of those personal stories. So shout out to him.
And he's still so positive.
Yeah, for real.
He is.
I love him.
He's one of the people that when I get a chance to make laugh, I'm happy.
Yes.
Because he's someone that's fighting so goddamn hard.
Yes.
So send him funny shit on Twitter. I'm sure he'll enjoy it. Tag it, drop it underneath in his comments. So thank you all. Please do what you can with the time, money that you have. If you haven't got out yet for the 5th of November and you'd like to, do it. We'll probably do something much bigger for the Million Mass March next year as A for A. But this year it's very world.
I think we're all life.
Mm-hmm.
Life. That's all we need to say. Just life. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you next week.
Bye.